Hello, world, and welcome to another voice note from France, a podcast where I look beyond the Instagram highlight reel to find out what it's really like to start a new life in another country. On today's voice note, we'll be picking up where we left off with my friend Keanu, a Jamaican assistant language teacher based in Japan. We'll be continuing our conversation on money and being financially responsible while also enjoying your new life. And we'll also get a bit reflective, talking about how our moving abroad journeys happened the way that they did, and how they were never really a part of the plan, and how we're grappling with that. So if you're interested, keep listening. I want to get back to what you're saying about money, because I want to tailor this advice, because the thing
Mhm.
is, you have to know who you are already with money,
Yep.
because the thing is, I also talk with Michaela about money. But the difference with Michaela's story was Michaela's coming from a place of she didn't know how to manage money. So then
Mhm.
now she's going and she's spending and everything, and money just gone. And then it's
Mhm.
like, oh, she needed to exercise some amount of, she didn't have the knowledge
Straight.
obviously, but she would have needed to have exercised some amount of control over her money versus you, like you said, you're coming from a place of you already know how to manage your money. If anything,
Mhm.
your problem was that you were too far on the other end of the spectrum where you're
Not
too
spending on myself. Yeah, I was
conservative.
just yeah.
Yeah. And I completely understand both sides because I feel like I've definitely been in a circumstance where I have overspent and I'm like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to cover my expenses. What is happening here? You know,
Mhm.
versus the flip side, which is you're so focused on money that you just kind of forget that, hey, you're
You
not meant to
forget to live.
suffer.
You forget to live. Yeah.
Yeah, you're allowed to live. And I guess how would you advise people to manage their finances or to deal with their finances in this circumstance?
Um. Well, the basics. Ensure that your bills are paid.
Yes.
It don't make no sense. You're flaunting and you're Instagramming. Oh, I'm eating
And you
sushi
lock off.
and I'm eating Kobe beef. And then when the rent must pay, you're homeless. That
Yeah,
don't
your
make
light
no
lock off, your
sense.
water lock off, and you're
Yeah,
hungry.
and the
Yeah.
water that don't make no sense. So the first thing I would say, ensure your bills are paid. Ensure your bills are paid. If outside of bills, let us say you have some other commitments, like you have to send money back to support your family with something, or you're saving towards that, saving towards school or something. I say that because ironically, that was what I came to Japan to do. I came to save money for school, and that's not working out. But anyways, we digress.
I was gonna ask you what your savings are looking like, but yeah, continue.
No, I'm actually not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But it is. So focus on your priorities and whatever you have for yourself, whatever you have left, it's okay to spend on yourself. Go watch a nice movie. Go and eat something as it doesn't have to be extravagant. It can be as simple as going to eat some KFC. It
Yeah.
can be as simple as that going to eat some KFC. But once you focus on your priorities, it is important to remember that you have to live.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite songs is "The World Is Not Enough" by Garbage. And there's a line in that song. There's there's no point in being alive. No point in living if you can't feel alive. And just going to work and coming home and going to work and coming home and going to work and coming home, that's not a life. You're not
Yeah.
being alive. So find those things. If it's a concert that you like, put your money aside and you go to the concert. You want to go on a trip? Put your money aside and go on the trip. You must have some form of life. You must be prepared to spend on having some form of life outside of the work on your home. Because that's the only way you're going to survive, especially in a place where you don't have a lot of family and friends to support you. You need to do those things. So yeah.
And that's the thing too. You said so many wonderful things. You've inspired me even in saying that because I feel like too, you know, you're coming to this other country and you feel like you have to maintain this certain image. And I mean, again, you don't have to be Instagramming your whole life and oh my God, hashtag
Mm.
influencer, have to, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't have to be doing all of that. But at the end of the day, you did come here. to live. Like you didn't come here.
Experience
Like
things.
the
Yeah.
way I look at it, I'm like, I didn't come to France to just sit down and lock up in my house and don't do nothing and don't go nowhere.
Mm,
Like, if I want to do it, I could have stayed in Jamaica to do that, which is
thank
what living in
you.
Jamaica started to feel like, you know. If I wanted to do that, I could have stayed in Jamaica and did that. If I came to France, I wanted to live. I came here to enjoy. And there are aspects of my
You
life,
ready to
even
see,
now,
you come all this to see something new. So see something new.
this is something new.
Go
See
and
something
do
new, do
something
something
new. So
new.
yeah, and one of the things that I do as well is, well, I have my Jamaican community and I love them, but I don't necessarily want to do Jamaican things all the time.
Yeah.
So the only time I really eat Jamaican food is when I'm with them. If I'm hanging out by myself or with my other non-Jamaican friends, I'm eating Filipino food, I'm eating Japanese food, I'm eating whatever. I'm trying new things. I'm in this place where, but for me not getting a job, I would not have been here.
Yes.
Japan was Japan is a lovely country, but it wasn't necessarily on my radar to
It
come and
wasn't your
visit
plan.
Japan. It wasn't on
Yeah.
my plan. If I was to check off a list and say where I was supposed to go, I would have gone to the UK or Europe before I come to Japan. Ironically, I've still never been to any of those places. But
Neither have I, and
I'm
I live in
here.
France.
I'm here. And I'm here for in a moment in time. I don't know how long this moment in time is gonna be. Some point might as well enjoy myself. And to be fair, being who I was before, being very fiscally prudent, it was a huge change, not just a culture shock in terms of, seeing new things, but in thinking differently. Instead of, okay, can't just watch money. You have to live a little bit. And being comfortable with spending the money for live a little bit. Because I'm telling you, if I wasn't and even though I'm here now for a while, there's still moments of that still ninging in your ears because if that wasn't there, I could have been in my apartment from March.
Yeah, in your apartment with no
I,
sunlight. Yeah.
I that's still that part of watching money is still so much in my brain that it took me until August, roughly 6 months or so later, before I could actually move in because I didn't actually move in until September. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, just you
Yeah, I
just gotta
completely
just
I
gotta live.
completely agree with you. Like it really is about just striking a balance between like
Mhm.
making sure that like your obligations are met, obviously, but like you don't have to like save every single dime. Like I tell people like, yeah, if you can save money,
Yeah.
because especially when you're living, I don't know how much you get paid there, but like when you're a language assistant and you get paid very little, I've definitely had situations where something comes up and you just
If
need
you tell
money.
me yours, if you tell me yours, I tell you mine.
Sure, I will tell, listen, I will tell people because I will tell you because as far as I'm concerned, it's on the internet for public consumption. So
Okay.
as a language assistant in France, you're now making 800 euros. Well, at least when I was working, it was 800 euros. That was last year. Them don't change it because the year before it was 785 and it had been like that for a decade, if not more. Yeah,
How much is that?
exactly.
How much is that in Jamaica?
800 euros. That's a good chunk of change in Jamaican still. Let me go look it up what the official number is now.
Oh,
800 euros to
a month?
JMD. 137,824. So almost
That's take home
138,000.
take home after tax?
Hmm? Yeah, no
Take home
tax.
after tax?
That is way below the tax bracket. Them can't tax you upon that.
Oh, okay. So mine is more than that. Sorry. In
Yeah.
terms of Jamaican, but Japan is a very expensive place to live. So it's yeah. So
Oh
yeah,
no, trust me.
it works out.
How much is it in Jamaican? I told you
In
mine.
Jamaica, in Jamaican, my take home pay is take home pay excluding rent and stuff like that because I took the rent out of my pay before I got it. It was 145,000,
Mm-hmm.
145,000, but then and I would spend 20,000 groceries. So I was saving a good chunk.
Yeah.
Saving a good chunk,
And yeah, that's
yeah.
pretty good. I mean, definitely I got into the habit of one of the smartest things I did was that
Mm.
eventually I asked, like, obviously you open a bank account here, or whichever country you're now moving to. And at some point I said, you know what, open a savings account for me so that I can just put money. somewhere, just drop a little money somewhere. And there have been so many times where
Mm,
that has saved me, where you
mm,
overspend or you need to pay for this or you need to pay for that, and you're sitting here and you're like,
mm,
where the hell am I gonna get this money? And you're
mm.
like, thank
Oh yeah,
God I had been putting it somewhere, you know?
yeah.
But
Uh, I wanted to do that here, but it's a whole. There could be a whole episode of talking about how difficult it is to navigate things legally here. So I just work with the one account that I have and just be responsible. Yeah.
hmm. Oh, trust me, I understand. There are many things that I want to do that it's like, oh, this isn't open to me, you know? And who knows, you might come back on for another episode and we can talk about it.
Yeah,
But
you can, yeah.
yeah, but definitely I understand what that feeling is like. And it definitely is like a barrier because it's like I want to advance myself in certain ways, but I
Mm.
just can't do that, you know?
Look, it took me a year and a half to get a debit card. A debit card for my money.
No way.
My money.
How are you paying for anything?
I
In
had
cash?
so no, so you had to go. Well, to be fair, Japan is still a cash-oriented society, but they're slowly moving. But it took a long time. I remember, oh God, talking about culture shock. Well, not culture shock, but funny incident for whatever. The
Yeah.
first time I came here, they gave me this thing called a cash card. No,
Oh,
a cash was a cash
like
card.
the
I said,
little
oh,
key card they have in Jamaica. They have that in Jamaica, the little key
cash
card.
card. So I thought like, okay, it was like a debit card. I was naive. I've never had a key
Neither have
card, so
I.
I didn't know the difference. So I went when I just moved in, was at a hotel at first, and then I got my apartment. I said, okay, got my apartment. I go, I go stock up food, feel like big people again, and I went to the supermarket and full up the trolley and yeah, and go to the cashier and go pay. And the card now work. Because it was only a cash card. So every time I have to go to the the ABM to get the cash and come back. And
Oh, it's not that difficult. You can just like tap. You have to, it's
the
just to
cash,
hold the money on.
me say, oh, the Ross. I mean, she take me, see, man.
Shame and disgrace.
She, she take me for say, okay, and not take it. Like that dance, I was so ashamed. Like I had to like, I was so embarrassed. I went and got the cash, but I couldn't go back to that supermarket. I was so embarrassed.
You
I
were
couldn't,
so, that's
I
how much
couldn't,
it shame
I
took you.
couldn't go to that
No kidding, even my shame took you so odd.
Yo, I couldn't go. I was so embarrassed. I couldn't go back to that supermarket. It took me like a month before I went back there again.
Oh
I
my
was
God.
so embarrassed. But yeah, that's something that I look back and I laugh at it now. But yeah, I have my card now, so I can tap and go and tap and
But that is
go.
insane. It took you a year and a half, you
Yes,
said?
so they have this rule where they don't allow foreigners to get like debit cards. I understand credit cards because you don't necessarily
Yeah,
want to go away with your money, but it's my money. Why can't I
exactly.
have a debit card?
That's the
But
thing.
yeah,
That's the
it
weird
took
part
a
because I'm
year.
like, what do you mean? You know, like
My
it's
right. It took
fine.
me a year and a half to get one. But yeah,
That is insane. Oh my goodness. Well, at least you finally
yeah,
have one. I
I
couldn't
have.
even
Yeah,
imagine it.
it was hell.
Yeah, and listen, I'm the way I don't walk around with cash anymore.
Mm.
Like I'm changing a bit because I'm using it as a way to manage my money where I like I at least take out
No,
like my
yes, that's the thing. That's the thing.
Mhm.
Since we were talking about managing money earlier, I don't necessarily think if you know how you are with money, having a debit card is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Because at least if you have cash on hand, so you withdraw, say 40,000, I don't whatever your budget is for the week or the month, however you're doing it,
Mm.
you can literally see the money. And that is one of the rules I've had going up. If you can see the money, you will know, say, okay, we can't afford to do this.
Oh yeah,
When
absolutely.
you just tap in and tap, tap,
Oh,
tap,
that's what got me in trouble.
you get yourself into trouble.
No, that's how I honestly, that is what got me. The thing that got me to realize, oh, I need to like be, let me give you a little bit of background. What happened was that I had gone on a trip with a friend of mine. So we'd
Mhm.
gone to another part of France and things, you're just having fun. And as you said, I'm just there with my debit card. I just tap in, not even thinking anything about it. So I go on this trip, I'm tapping my card everywhere. Yeah, I will have the extra large ice cream. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go on the
Yeah.
Ferris wheel.
You know,
Mhm.
let's do that. And then I come home and I'm looking at my very empty bank account and I am like,
I want
what
honest.
in the hell? Who has done financial fraud to me where all of my money is just gone? Like, what
Yeah.
has happened?
Mm-mm.
So I don't remember how much I had, but I know I had to scramble because I still had like expenses to pay for in my regular life.
Mhm.
So I know I had to scramble to go find some funds. And like I said, I have like a savings. I'm like, all right, this I never wanted to spend on this, obviously, but I have to go put this over here now. So I was able
Mhm.
to, pull myself together. But it was a very jarring realization of like, Daniel, you can't afford to spend like this. And the thing is, I got caught in this trap, and I don't know if anybody listening to this can relate to this. I got caught in this trap of feeling like I didn't need to budget. I felt like I did not need to budget because when I was living in Jamaica, I was always, and I mean, I somewhat still am. I've always been like a very low key person. Like, I'm not the person who was
Mhm.
like spending all of this money, X, Y, and Z, going out all the time, whatever, whatever. Like, I was just like, I'm gonna get the money. I'm naturally a saver. There wasn't really anything in Jamaica that I wanted to do that I was like, oh, I'm spending my money on this constantly, like,
Mhm.
to
Come on,
party and
foreign and things twinkle your eye.
exactly.
Hey,
Exactly. You come foreign and all of a sudden foreign life sweet you.
you're
All of a
Friday,
sudden
Friday.
and then you just want to spend all your money because it wasn't until I came to France all of a sudden, oh, I want to travel. Oh, I want to buy this. Oh, I want to go there. Oh, I want to eat that, whatever. All of a sudden, and again, I have this mindset of thinking I don't need to budget because I'm like, I'm fine with money, I don't have a problem. What do I
No,
need to
it's
budget
the
for?
it's the same thing reach me. So back in Jamaica, I like again, it's how I record these things as kind of like growth, how I've grown over the last couple of years. Like
Same
in
here.
Jamaica, I wasn't that big on clothes and stuff like that, but I was like, yeah, I like clothes now. Because me I earn money, we can afford to spend it. So yeah, I
Exactly.
like clothes now, but one day I said, but my customer card on tap. Go store, tap, shoes, tap, tap. And in no time, I spent almost 60,000. I'm like, no, 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 sir, you can't do this. You
Exactly.
cannot do this. You can afford it, but you cannot do
Gonna be
this.
time to do it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's the thing. And it's learning how to balance in wants versus need. Yeah, you want something, and of course, you earn it and you can treat yourself. But sometimes, if you just put it, you always have to be responsible and say, okay, I might want this. Maybe I can't have it right now, but or maybe I
Yes.
don't need it. Yeah, because I had a small phase where I was even buying things I don't need.
That is
I
very
was
accurate.
buying things I don't need. When I look back, I'm looking back and like, why the hell am I buy this? What am I
Yes.
gonna do with this? Like I have a whole. It's like a. Is it a mini fan or a mini AC? I don't know what it is. I literally park up, sit down in front of me right now, and I don't know why I buy it.
You don't
But
even
I
know
buy
what
it
it is.
because
I
we
don't know
can
what it
afford
is.
it.
Oh my
Yes, yes, be
God.
careful with that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That is hilarious. We're going to come back to that.
Yeah,
We
man.
have to go on another break, but we're going to
Yeah,
talk
man.
more about that because I understand exactly.
Yeah, man. All right.
And we'll be back after these messages.
Keanu, before the break, you said something that really hit me in my spirit.
Remind me what I said again. I don't remember.
Oh Lord. I feel like the people shouldn't know that this is not immediately after. There was a little bit of time. But yeah, you're talking about like just buying things just for the sake of buying it because you just have money now and living
Mm-hmm.
abroad, sweetie, I just feel for just buy everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish people would talk about, listen, you don't have to buy everything. Like, you know how like when you're at home, like in your home country, like that makes sense of like you can't buy everything. It's like
Mm-hmm.
when you move abroad, it's like that advice just flies out the window. Like,
Yeah, it's it's almost like for like I was explaining to somebody that there's certain things in Jamaican parlance that no matter how verbose you are in the English language, it just doesn't translate as well. So I'm
yes.
gonna use a Jamaican word. You're fright the Friday. You're fright the Friday. You feel your reach. You feel, yeah, man, I'm big now, me in a one different place. It's different now when you go visit your family. You're there by yourself or whatever you
Yeah.
feel. Say,
I am making your
make
own money. I
you
say, yeah,
make
man, I
money.
mean this.
Yeah, man, I'm big and I'm rich and I can whatever.
Nobody can't tell me nothing.
And you find yourself just buying things that you would not buy in Jamaica. You just that's the
Yeah.
thing. You will not buy because in Jamaica, you have to be responsible, you have to be fiscally,
Yeah.
conservative and stuff like that. I just find myself doing some things, but but that's especially when you have that tap, and I always say to people, the day they decided to make you stop having to punch in your password when you use a debit card
Yeah.
was a sad day because when you
You never
can
have
just
time to reflect.
and yeah, because when you're punching in that code, that is a moment of reflection.
Yeah.
That's a moment of
Those 4 seconds of
reflection.
reflection as
Yeah.
you're typing. Yes.
Should I be buying this? No.
Exactly.
You just stop in like,
That
but
is true.
mm,
But trust me, I can look back on things that I bought that I'm like, why did I really buy this? Like I can like you know what it is too? Like whenever you go abroad, I say, yeah, man, like let's say I go to like another country and I'm like, oh my God, I want to buy a souvenir of this. I want to buy this and that or whatever. And I'm like, Daniel, you have pictures. You're really not going to be like, and I don't regret any of these things, but I'm like, Daniel, if you don't buy it, you're not gonna regret it. Like you feel like you will for 2 seconds, but then you're gonna forget that you even wanted this thing. And it's been like exercising this impulse control that is like, why did I really buy this? Or I think about the fact I was looking over, I own a guitar. And it's like I love my guitar and I'm trying to find ways to like actually do lessons and get back into guitar. Which was for the listeners, I used to play guitar more back in Jamaica before. That's a whole other history. But I think about the fact that when I bought this guitar, I had moved to France the first time and I didn't know I was going to be staying in France. So
mm,
essentially, I bought something that was like would have effectively been useless because I have a guitar in Jamaica. It's not like I couldn't have gone a few months without playing guitar. Like, so I would have been buying an extra guitar for the sake of it. Granted, I got it for 50 euros. So it's not like
mm,
it put me out, but it was like that was in a sense a pretty not great purchase because it's like, bro, you could have gone the extra. When I bought this, it was December and I was supposed to be leaving about April, May. So I'm like, you could have gone the 5 or so months without playing. Why did you buy this? Of course, now that I've been here for like almost no, over 3 years at this point. I don't even know. I'd have to do the math. But now that I've been here for years, it's like, oh, this in a sense was, a good thing to have or an investment of sorts to have. But it's like, why did I buy this? And that's kind of the same energy of some things you buy. I have a friend who, when she was buying things, no, I have two friends. When I tell you they were buying some things and accumulating so much things, when I have to see them leaving to go back to their country and the way them just like eat them off a dash away, give away, try sell it, but then them try sell it, but like they don't have enough time because it's not like you have like months on end where you're trying to like, put it on the market for someone to come and buy it. You're talking about they have to try to sell it within like 2 weeks or something because they know someone will leave. Things
mm,
like that. And it's like, how did you manage to accumulate so much stuff in the span of less than a year? You would be
mm,
surprised. You would be
mm,
surprised.
mhm. And I think that a friend of mine recently moved back to Canada, and I was helping him all move and getting selling stuff and moving. Mind you, he had more time to prepare, so it wasn't that stressful for him, and I was helping him, of course. But it's when I physically saw how many things he had to get rid of, that's what kind of slowed things down for me with my
Yeah,
credit spending, because I'm like, no, you have to unload all that. So you might be buying it now, you might be enjoying it now, but unless you plan to stay forever, you have to offload it. So it's
exactly.
best. Yeah. So I'll say over time, years experience, ex yeah, experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually you'll figure it out,
You will
when
figure it out.
especially when you move somewhere. Like I'm living in a very small apartment, and right now I'm like, thank God I don't have any more things. And I can't, it doesn't make sense for me to buy anything else because my place is so small. It's like, where would I put this? That's whenever I think of like buying something, I'm like, where are you going to put it? I'm serious.
Mm,
Like, I don't own a table, for example, and I don't own like a chair. So then it's like in my mind, I was like, oh, let me go buy a table and a chair. And if I show you the dimensions of this apartment, you would cry. It might be close to your old apartment. Um, but exactly. But in fact, I would say about my scandal after. Anyways, but like I don't own a table, I don't own a chair. But I'm also like, Daniel, where would you put a table and a chair in this room? You wouldn't have the space to put it. It would make navigating this room impossible if you got one. And then even if it's like a little fold-up table and a fold-up chair you can put up, it's like where are you even going to store it? Even that's a consideration, you know? So things like that. Tiny living spaces, that's a part of the living abroad experience. So, Keanu, let me
Yes.
ask this, and maybe this is a big question. Do you see yourself living in Japan forever?
Um, that's actually a very timely question because I've been asking myself that too.
Mm-hmm.
I so let's start from the very beginning. Very good place to start. What's
Young man,
that's
you're
a
going to get me demonetized.
sorry, go to sorry.
I think
All
that's just enough, but like,
yeah,
don't say
you're
no
not gonna
more.
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Right, go sorry. All right. So originally my plan was only to be here for 2 years. 2 years, go back, go get my master's or go to Norman, whatever the plan may be.
Yes.
I've now been here past that, and now that I've gotten this new apartment, that suggests that I'm going to be here for at least 2 more years, at the
Mm-hmm.
very least. Um, I'm getting older. I'm not exactly where I thought I would be at this age in my life, but I'm happy with where I am. But those initial ambitions have not gone away, so I know I want to get moving on that. Um, so I'm saying right now, unless something changes, i.e., I get a job, get more job advancement, or I meet somebody, I'll probably be here for another 2 years or so. Because, yeah, I love the job, I love teaching, but it's not necessarily what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So there's a time limit on that, and not just on those, not just ambitions, there's a whole other world out there. I also want to go to other places and see. So I would like to, as I said, Thailand is on my bucket list. I have a lot of friends there I'd want to probably go. Who knows, I'll probably go and stay there for a while as well.
Yeah.
Um, the primary factor right now is where I see myself in the next couple of years. In 2 or 3, oh God, I can't believe this. In 2 or 3 years' time, I'll be almost 30.
Yes.
Shit.
Oh, trust me, every single day I am like, I am almost 30 years old and look at where my life is, which
I'm
depending on the
almost
day is a good thing and a bad thing.
on, yeah, in some, that's the thing. In some days, I'm like, for 27, 28, I've done a
Oh, good.
lot. A lot of, you go work and you pop your collar and you want to feel good. And then there are other days you're having an existential crisis. And like, what have I done with my life? What's going on? What is going on? So it depends on the day. But right now, at least, because of the new contract I signed with my apartment, I know I'm here for at least 2 more years.
Yeah.
What comes after that, I'm not sure. If I meet somebody, who knows?
Who
Who knows?
knows? That is the
If,
thing, you know.
yeah, but
Honestly,
definitely. Mhm.
honestly, I completely, here's the thing, you and I came from the same place of like, we didn't plan to migrate. We didn't plan to like live in the places we end up living. It's just like you got a chance and you went.
You
Like you
just
got
say
to
you got a chance, you just jump on the plane.
exactly. And I actually have a friend who she always quotes at me it's from Julius Caesar. And it's like there's a tide in the affairs of men which taken at the flood. I don't remember the rest of it, but it's about seizing opportunity when it comes. And she loves to remind me, like, think about the fact that you almost didn't come to France, you know? And she reminds you of that constantly. Like there was a point where you were seriously considering not taking this opportunity. Where would it have been? How it would have changed the course of your life? Because this experience has changed the course of my life. And I know that this has changed the course of your life. But
Oh,
I do understand this. This was not a part of the plan. And as a
this was
result, you're
okay.
sitting here and you're trying to figure out, what in the hell am I supposed to do now? Because me never plan all of this. Like, I thought I would be in Jamaica. At this age, I thought I would be in Jamaica. I thought I would have probably been in some sort of relationship. I thought I would have been settled, in quotes, in a job, progressively making money, trying to reach certain financial goals and things. Like I said, with or without a partner, having my family around me and things and my
Mm.
friends and all of the comforts I was used to. Like that was the life that I had envisioned for myself and I had bargained for because that's what was available to me. All of this was not planned. So what
All
now?
all this was not planned. So my vision, well, my vision in the sense that I knew I wanted to live somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because my interest, there are very limited opportunities to pursue my interest in Jamaica. Well,
Hmm.
not in terms of law. So my passion in law is like constitutional law. Ironically, when I decided to leave Jamaica, that's when we're having the biggest constitutional discussion of our lifetimes. But
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm not there for that. But outside of happening now, there's just typically not that space. So I knew that to pursue that, I would have to go somewhere else. So I always envisioned that, but I never thought I'd be in Japan.
Yeah.
Never thought I'd be teaching or teaching English because I always wanted to teach maybe at a university or something. But I think that is just the lesson sometimes with you just have to learn to roll with the punches. And as someone who was very rigid, that was very, very difficult for me to do. You know me, I overthink.
Yeah.
I think
Same here.
I'm the person who think of the 10 way can succeed and the 20 way can fail.
Yeah.
And then if I think about the different solutions if it fails, so I'm that type of person. And in boarding that even that's the other thing, another story, short story time. When I was actually on the plane coming to Japan, we stayed in Dallas. I have an American visa and I found in America. And I was like, when we were going back to the airport to board the connecting flight to come to Tokyo, I was like, internal man, I'm like, where the hell may I go? After what we know about Japan? What we know about Japan? If something happen to me, nobody can help me. What may I go over there to go do?
Yeah. You don't even speak
I'm
Japanese.
like,
Listen, you didn't
I
speak
don't even speak
Japanese.
Japanese. I don't
Like,
speak that
at
language.
least when I came to France, it was with the motivation of let me go work by my French little bit. You didn't speak a lick of Japanese.
Don't even speak a lick of it. I'm like, where the hell me I go? And I was there and I was like, you know what? I going up to the counter and I said, look here, man, they change my ticket. Me go up to New York, go visit my family, and then I can always board the plane, go back to Jamaica. And I had to just, you know what? Shake it off and then go up on the plane. And I've just taken it day by day as I go, as since I've been here, day by day, living in the moment, enjoying the moment, focusing on what I can do right now versus what is in even a year in advance. I'm not necessarily concerned about that anymore. Focusing on what I can do right now, making the difference I can make right now. Um, and I can tell you, I love it. I love it. I consider it the privilege of a lifetime that I get every day. I get a chance to go to the school that I work at, and I teach the students that I have. They're almost like my kids. Um, and even that, because as someone who never really wanted children of my own,
Hmm.
being around them and teaching them and seeing, especially the ones that I taught from first year, going to second year, going to third year, they're on the verge to going to high school now, seeing them go, that even that paternal feeling is kind of switching in me, and I'm like, oh wow. But so you never know what is around the corner. You never know what is coming. So one, you just have to be flexible and then roll with the punches as they come.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like if anything that this experience has taught me, it's that you can't, I understand how you feel about being so rigid because I was the exact same way. I definitely was like, I have a plan for my life. This is the plan. You see the list. I have a friend who would make fun of me because I would make a list for everything. I'm like, see the list here. This is the list. This is how my life is gonna look. This is what I'm trying to accomplish.
I still remember my list. I can read off my list
I
right
still
now.
remember parts of my list, and some parts of the list did get fulfilled. But because one of them was like to finish like law school and things. I'm like, I did technically do that.
Mhm.
Um, so I remember the list and how rigid I was, and then when I look at my life now, I'm like, I did not know what in the hell I got myself into. But at the same time, I'm I'm astonished at how much I've managed to accomplish. And the thing is, I don't give myself credit for that because the fact is everything that I've done, um, I'm I'm gonna end the recording until the after. But everything that has
Mhm.
happened to me in like my time here, and especially like in the last year, everything that has happened, and I'm like, I've really managed to accomplish a lot more and get through things that I didn't know I was capable of. And
Mhm.
that's the thing that I think living abroad has really like instilled in me that I
Oh,
didn't know
oh
how
yeah.
capable I was. Hmm?
Oh yes. And so Daniel know this story already. So this is really for you listeners. You know what story I'm gonna tell, right?
Which one?
Yes, no, you know what story I'm gonna tell.
Oh Lord, I'm afraid. Tell me.
No man, it's nothing too graphic. It's the Denver story with the little boy. With the little
Okay.
boy.
Okay. I do know this story. Continue.
Yes. So, years ago, I went on work and travel, which is this program a lot of university students in Jamaica go on in the US, work, earn a little money, you come and you pay your tuition. I went to a lovely theme park in Denver. Shout out Denver, my so-called second hometown. Remember that face, Daniel?
You
My
were looking for a
hometown.
home. That
But
was
I
the
was
crazy
looking for
part.
a
You're looking
house
for
in Denver.
houses.
Yeah, so shout out to my hometown. Yeah, and I worked at this amusement park, and this little boy, I was a janitor. He was doing his business in the bathroom, and he came out and he didn't wash his hands. So I said, young man, remember to wash your hands. You don't want to catch germs. The boy, who couldn't have been anything about more than 6 or 7, looked at me and said, shut him out and go F yourself. And I just looked at him and said, I'm sorry, sir. And I just nod my head. I'm sorry, sir. I apologize, sir. Have a good day, sir. Shame, 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 shame. And I went in the stall, and first of all, I shut
This
down
is
the
the part.
bathroom. I went into the stall and I ball, a ball, a ball, a ball, a ball, a ball. I said, look how me left my good yard. Come and find,
You
come
come
make pick the
suffer.
go, for come suffer, for come make pick the 10 me for go F myself.
Exactly.
But but it's my fault. I did too enough. That is my fault.
Listen
And
to the fact that you're saying, sir.
the growth that I've experienced has taught me is enough. But it too enough. So
Yes.
leave me alone. But anyways, what the grand theme is that you sometimes don't know who you can become when you're comfortable. And the thing is, Jamaica, for all its beauties and its warts, you're comfortable in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Because for most people, not everybody, you have your family who you can lean upon. You
Hmm.
have the friends who you can lean upon.
You know
But
where you fall in like the whole,
you know where you fall,
socioeconomic
and
sense
you
part
know, say if
everything.
things don't work out, you can sit down on your laurels. But
Yes.
you don't know who you can truly be in life, not necessarily professional, but as a human being, you don't know what you're capable of until you move overseas and you have to survive on your own. You don't know who that person is until that happened. Because the things that that I did in that city of Denver, shout out to my hometown,
Hmm.
that I did to survive. If I told myself that the year before that I already know things, I said, shut up your mouth, you tell like me not
Yeah.
do them things. But I did it because I had to survive. And I can laugh now, but it was scarring then. But I
Yeah.
laugh now. I'm proud of who all of those things made me become. And I've even But again, in America, it's different, of course, because I speak English and I have family who I could call. So now coming to the other side of the world, don't speak the language, don't know nobody can help me. Even if I wanted to help, I wanted to help. I've had to now expand on who I thought I was.
Yes.
And like I say, every day I'm grateful for that discovery. So when I do return to what quote unquote my normal life, I am a fuller human being because of
Mhm.
this thing that I've spent in America and now in Japan.
And
Yeah.
that is such a beautiful point that you touched on because
Mm.
I completely agree. Like I said, I had a very similar experience. Like I look back on my life before and I was like, I was a princess. And not necessarily in like a bad way of being
Well,
spoiled,
but
but in a way of
you
like,
just you know that you had something you could always fall back on, so you didn't take
yeah,
risks.
you know, you didn't have to do certain things, like things that I do here that I never had to do, you know, when I was living in Jamaica. Like I was living a
Mhm.
good life and I can now appreciate that. But then I also recognize I can appreciate that, like, hey, I know how to take care of myself. Because one of the fears that I had was I was like, I don't know if I will be able to like take care of myself when life gets hard. And as a result, you're like, well, I need to make sure that life never gets hard. You know, I need to stay in this comfort zone because I don't know what I'm capable of if that happens. And I don't think I am capable. And if,
Mhm.
you know, recent events have taught me anything, I'm like, I am way more capable than I gave
Man,
myself credit for because
you
you
know,
had to
we don't
survive.
we don't give ourselves enough credit sometimes, and that's it. Is that you just have to learn to take that in, learn to pat yourself on your back and say, "Yeah, man, you did good, boss." We don't do that enough. And we just have to, and sometimes it's not necessarily a natural thing. I, I don't know if it's just who you and I are as person, or if it's a Jamaican wide thing where we don't pat ourselves on our backs enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That might
so
be a cultural thing. That might be a
it might be a
Jamaican thing.
coping thing.
And I
Yeah,
think that a parts of it, because I think a lot of like being Jamaican is like you're going to get through. Like
yeah,
Jamaicans, the one thing about Jamaicans is like, I will tell you after, but for example, like something that's happened in like my degree, you know, I've been through a lot of issues with like my school and everything. And one thing
mm,
I say is like, I'm the cockroach we can't dead. Like that is it. Like you try to step up, like I'm the cockroach we can't dead. You know, that is the
mm,
thing. And I think that's a very Jamaican thing where it's like Jamaicans are going to survive. Jamaicans are going to figure it out. Not to say other people don't have a similar survival instinct, but I would say specifically Jamaicans, you're gonna figure it out. You're going to survive. You're not going to just turn
mm,
over and dead. But the flip side of that is you're not going to like sit down and recognize and take in the mental aspect of I'm going through something that is not normal. I'm going through something that is very stressful. I'm going through something that is on some level traumatic. And
mm,
I need to recognize that one, I need to sit with those feelings, but then also recognize that, hey, I have done like really well for myself, despite the fact that I've had to go through all of these, depending on what it was, horrendous things, traumatic
mm.
things, very terrible, sad things. And I think that's not very Jamaican. So it's like you're going to survive, but you're not going to recognize that I've been in survival mode and that means a lot. And I think that that was a very difficult thing where it was like I was living in survival mode and I don't think I made that connection in my mind of like you're in survival mode, but you shouldn't necessarily be. And you need to recognize that on some level you have to grieve the fact that you're in this. You know, that you're in this situation and at least give yourself grace to be like you're literally doing the best that you can.
Honestly, that is so true. That is so true. And again, I while I listening to you, I was here thinking about some statistics when it comes to well, my journey to Japan. In the sense that when I started, I was in a cohort of seven. I was I was the only one of the seven who actually boarded the plane of the seven. So
Oh,
everybody they drop out or whatever, or they change their mind or whatever. But I was the only one of the seven to end up boarding the plane. And I ended up boarding the plane with three other people. I'm the only one still here. The other two went back home. So in a way, I'm just looking at saying, you know what? There's a have a level of stick with itness and this
Stick to
endurance.
itness. Yeah.
Stick to itness, yes. And I'm
Yes.
just, oh, hell yeah. In a way, I've stuck with it not just once but twice. Like I
Yeah.
said,
You've been sticking with it for years.
I've been sticking with it for years.
Yes.
I'm the only one of 7 to board the plane and the only one of the 3 to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
yeah, so
here's
there's a lot to be proud of, and that's I'm glad I'm thinking about it now because again, there are moments where I'm sad because I'm not exactly where I thought I would be. And even with you, I love you and I'm proud of you always, but there are moments when I am a little bit envious because you were able to accomplish all those things, but is
Kiana,
that
I'm
you
envious of
still to
you.
do?
What do you
Yeah?
mean?
I just
Yes.
have, sometimes I appreciate the flattery. I appreciate the flattery.
No, Keanu, there
Um,
have been moments where, like, I'm envious of the fact that you have managed to still find, like, a lot of joy in the work that you're doing because, I haven't, it wasn't that I didn't find joy in being a language assistant, but there was nowhere to go with being a language assistant, right? And
mm,
for me, I recognize I'm like, listen, I need to make this pivot because, quite frankly, I'm just wasting time. But, like, making that pivot has not been easy. Like there have definitely been a lot of moments in my life as of late that have just not felt joyful. And there have been moments where I feel like, am I doing it wrong? Have I done something wrong? Should I have just kind of stuck with teaching? All of that to say is that like I'm envious of the fact that like you are still doing all of these things that bring you a lot of joy when for me, I feel like I have in some parts lost that and I'm trying to actively like refine those things and recapture those things because I realize it and I'm like this is not what I came here to do, going back to my previous point of like I didn't come here to just be monotonous, go work, come home, go school, come home. Like that's not how I came here. I came here to have a full life. And
mm,
I'm frustrated with myself that I have not been able to maintain that, but I'm also like, given the things that I've been through, it's
mm,
not my fault. But I want
mm,
to still make an active effort to recapture those things. So I am
mm.
envious of you in those ways because I think that you've been able to like keep that.
Thank you. Yes, I must say it's the greatest thing though is just so to avoid repeating myself, let's see what the greatest, let's sum up what my great lessons of living here have been.
Hmm.
One, learning to roll with the punches, because I've been through some punches, especially career-wise.
Yeah.
One, learning to embrace new experiences, which as someone who liked a routine, and Daniel can tell you, in university I ate the same thing every day because I'm
Yeah.
someone who likes routine. I like my routines. Learning to shed all of that is and just taking it one step at a time. When you reach the fork in the road, then you decide to cross it. Then you decide which direction you're going. That's one thing as well. And even if it is something small, find something to smile about. It's hard to find that one thing all the time,
Hmm.
but find it. And then you take it from there. Yeah, that's it. So those are my lessons for living, not just overseas, but living generally that I've discovered so far. And I'm still learning. I'm still learning there. Discovering new things about myself every day. So that's the fourth lesson. That you are always growing, no matter how old you are. So if you discover something about yourself that you didn't know before and it kind of shock you, don't be disappointed. Accept the lesson for what it is and take it from there. Yeah. So those are my 4 lessons.
And it's on that lesson that we leave Keanu and end today's voice note. Thank you again, Keanu, for sharing your extraordinary journey and for reminding us all to roll with the punches of life. And also for letting me share that video of you dancing. If you haven't seen it already, check it out and find Keanu's handle on our Instagram page at jamfrancophile, at JAMFRANCOPHILE. I'm your host, Danielle Brown, and for anyone who's still out there, thank you for listening.